best writers are livers. Are
Our
livers.
liver.
You gotta live to be able to write. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay, but now it's going on a cup with a picture of an actual liver.
Hi, I'm Allie.
And I'm Sam, and this is the Nit Writs podcast. And this week we are talking about starting our novels. We have zero advice, but we're going to talk about why we started it, what was our inspiration, some of the process, and just kind of what that looked like for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, but first, how's your reading
So I
this
have
week?
I have a reading check-in, but I want to do.
Oh,
Do you have a writing check? You've been crazy busy, so I'm assuming you did not write.
I I did write.
Oh, yay! I got words for my reading check-in, so I have
Oh.
no words for my writing check-in.
Okay. I did not read at
Okay.
all, except
Okay.
for student
Mhm.
essays.
Mhm.
So I did a lot of reading, but
Yeah.
nothing that's fun to talk about.
Okay.
Very interesting, but not fun. Um, Writing, I got 1,500 words somehow. It was more than I
Nice.
have for the past like 5 weeks.
Nice.
I don't know how. I don't know. I sat down two
Was this
times.
for your enemies to lover, or is this for the big
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, I'm now calling the enemies to lovers story Torrance story. I started it because I was reading a book and I was like, this makes you just want to try my hand at an enemies to lovers story.
Mhm.
I've yet to see an enemy or a lover. But I do have an interesting magic series. I'm now calling it the
Okay.
Torrance
Torrance.
because it's a
Okay.
part of this magic system that I've
That's
created
awesome. That's a
randomly.
good title. Keep that title.
I don't love it, but I like
But
I
that could
like the
be
title for what it is in the series. I just feel like it couldn't be a title, but maybe it
that,
could.
or it could be the series title, right? Like the Torrance
Interesting.
series.
Okay, that would actually make sense.
That would be
Okay.
cool. I
Interesting.
like that.
Okay. Yeah, it's like kind of about like magic pollution in a weird way.
This sounds
It's not
amazing.
really, but like
First
it's
off,
I don't
you've
know.
hooked me. You said maybe it's an enemies to lover, but I don't know. I see no enemies. I see no lovers. You came up with a cool word that I'm interested in, and you talk about magic pollution. I'm on board. Let's go. Get it written. 1,500
Yeah.
words. Let's go.
And it's very fun and it's a really random, I do have names for these characters because I just
Nice.
didn't care about the story. I was just like, oh, all right,
Yeah.
Mina, Sila, done. Like, and I don't know where I got those names. I don't know
Beautiful.
anyone with those names, but they're two sisters. There's like earthy magic, and I wrote these scenes where I finally finished up this really long scene I've been sort of picking at for like weeks, and then I sort of wrote like, but they're gonna go on a journey, so I wrote like them having breakfast and talking, and then like them getting their horses delivered to them before they go on their journey. Like
Okay.
the stable boy brought it over to like whatever, and then there's just like this interesting magic thing, and I just keep creating these like things that I'm like, oh, what's that? Like I'll have the character be like, yeah, that's over in the this, and I'm like, I don't know what that is, but that's what the character said, so
Very.
let's go see what that
I
is.
love that.
It's very weird. But yeah, somehow I got 1,500 words in the middle of the most intense week of my life. Proof that you
Nice.
should just do it all.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's my reading and my writing check-in. What about what's up
Um,
yours?
I have not been able to write.
Okay.
I'm having a little bit of mental health
Yeah.
crises. No, I mean I'm fine. I just am in between medical providers and the state of the American health system sucks. So
Yep.
it's just slow going. And so I haven't had my normal concoction that gets my brain to do what it needs to do. So I've been making priority lists of things that I have to do, and I kind of only get that done because then I'm kind of tapped for the day.
Yeah. You're like, I
Um,
did everything I was supposed to and I can't do
and
anymore.
yeah, and last week was like my daughter's first week back to school, and so it's just been like, whatever. And so it's just yeah, I don't know. I haven't been able to like sit and really focus about the story. And even for a couple of days, I didn't think about it at all. And I think I was a little anxious about the last chapter that I wrote, which like I'm excited about, but I
Mhm.
already want to change so many things. And I was
Yeah, and then
having
it kind of makes you
trouble.
avoid it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was doing a little avoidance, but I've been thinking about what the next chapter is, and I'm like, even if it's a short chapter, just write it. Just get that out of the way so you can just keep moving the story along. So I have like the next chapter kind of mulling in my head, and I'm just gonna like force me. Once I sit down and do it, I'll
It's
be
so much
okay.
easier.
But I also feel like I'm having a really hard time. I can focus. I'm having a hard time shifting focus. So like my ADHD works where like I can hyper focus like a motherfucker, but
Mhm.
it's the like being interrupted during that focus that is really really difficult.
Mm,
And the thing that interrupts my focus are my children, and I don't want to snap at them
yeah.
because of my own brain shit and not because
Mhm.
they have basic needs that I'm not answering because I'm fucking
Yeah.
in a
You have
basement
to
somewhere writing. So I'm just
find an actual escape, yeah.
yeah, so I'm just trying to find some space for that to live, and with like a friend's wedding, and it just there's kind of a lot in the
Mhm.
not writing space that's been going on. So that hasn't happened,
Same.
which is fine, but they still live in there. I still think about all of them nearly every day.
The best writers are livers, are livers.
Our liver.
You gotta live to be able to write. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, but now it's going on a cup with a picture of an actual liver.
Uh, sorry, not to derail you,
It should be like
but I get what you
yeah, an animated liver with like a scarf and a laptop. It's just like the best writers are livers. Yeah. So my reading check-in though is a little crazy. So
Okay.
um
Oh, yeah, you
I
were reading the book, then that.
I finished the novel,
Yeah, the serpent
Slaying
novel.
Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. I listened to it on audiobook and I feel like I'm need to reread it in the physical form to
Mm.
like I got the story, but I feel like the connection to the character and the like gut wrenching that could have happened maybe didn't happen in an audio format for me.
Do you think it's because you also know kind of where they end up after? Because 'Cause you've seen, like, them in the book that comes later? Or
Maybe
no?
that could
Okay.
be part of it too.
Mhm.
Also, right, ADHD. So, lots of interruption, lots of coming back, lots of being like, "What the fuck did I just listen to?" I gotta rewind it because
Yeah.
I'm like I zoned out. So like,
They always do that.
there's that. So I finished that, and I have um a Fate Inked in Blood. I bought the book. I have the
Oh, I
physical
keep hearing about
version.
this.
I have the physical version that I got from like a used bookstore, discount bookstore. And I was like, oh, that's going to be my next read. And then I was like, no, maybe. And so I have not been using any of my audiobook credits because I haven't been using audiobooks for a while. So I had like 8 credits. I was like, cool, I got to get some books. So
I've really hit and miss things about that book. Like, some people say, "Yay, I love it," and some people, like, hate it.
yeah, it's I enjoyed it. I liked it. Oh wait, which one are we talking about now?
Fate Inked in Blood.
Yeah, that's also the same, and I'm fine with. I I don't know. I People really love From Blood and Ash, and I think it's a fucking trash series. The first 2 books were lovely, and then I don't know what the fuck she did in the third one, but it got so I could not. People also love The Haunting of Adelaide, and I'm like, I'm not. Nope, no, thank you.
Yeah.
So everyone has their kink, and so
Was
I'm
Blood
I'm
and
here.
Ash, is it like a kink thing, or is it just, like, the story went crazy?
The story got vapid, where it just
Okay.
became like the characters all of a sudden went real flat. And like that was the one where I said like she did this really cool badass magic thing, and then she turns to her
Oh, yeah.
fucking person, and he's just like, it's so hot. And you're like, fucking gross. Okay. I'm like, I want someone who's gonna like burn the world down with me. I don't want someone who's gonna try to be like, you're so sexy when you kill 7,000 men at once.
And it's not
Um,
supposed to be, like, a joke, like, part of
No,
their
no, he
humor.
says it, like, "If we weren't in this cave right now, surrounded by dead bodies, I'd ravish you," and you're like, "Ew." And he doesn't even say it like that, like, at least that I would be like, "Alright, that's some passion." He literally just goes, "That's hot."
See, that
Hey,
sounds like a
fucking
joke to me,
Paris
but yeah,
Hilton?
maybe
What
not.
the fuck?
Yeah,
Um,
that's funny.
I don't know, I think the story well, just
Yeah.
and at some point, I became not
Broke it.
invested in them and was like, "Okay." It's
Yeah.
more
So
it
it's
be
along those
it
lines.
became where I felt like the story lore was really great and the background premise was really great and like then it felt a little bit like there wasn't enough substance anymore, so she was like kind of grasping at straws to like create a little bit more substance to the story, but that the focus was really more on the sex scenes. And I'm here
Mhm.
for smut,
Mhm.
but I also need, usually
Yeah.
need it to have a little more
Usually
whatever.
want anything in a book to feel like it's supposed to be there, not like, you know,
This series I'm reading, I'm
faint
like,
ink and blood.
no, no, no. So I did not pick that book up. I used
Oh.
an audiobook credit and I picked up a book that was recommended to be like extra spicy. And I was like, let's give an extra spicy book a try. Figure this out. The amount of writing sins that are in this book is wild.
So what do you okay.
And
What is the
I
writing said?
and I kind of love it anyways.
Okay, that's
So
doing
I mean,
something
I bought
right.
the second book. I'm gonna read the second book. I don't know how the fuck it's published. Like, there's parts of me that I'm like, there's 6 of them.
What's it called?
It is called Bound by Thorns is the first book, and I think the second one is called Woven in Gold or Woven by Gold or something. It is
Mm.
coined as a you're never going to read it. I would never suggest it to you. You'd be like, "Sam, what the fuck is this?" It is a reverse harem Beauty and the Beast retelling. And when I say a Beauty and the Beast retelling, I don't mean like ACOTAR. I don't mean like they took the story and like it kind of lives there and there's a couple of nods or Easter eggs to Beauty and the Beast. There are direct quotes from the movie in the mouths of the characters in the book.
Just like fan fiction? No, I guess
It
not, but
feels like it
yeah.
a little bit. Like at some point, she,
They like name the same things?
it's just like it's like it's ridiculous. Like and like there's enough differences where like fine, but there's so like at some point the main character like finds the fucking magical library and she's like, I got to know the staff enough and like kind of figure out what they like. And so when we were trying to do research together, I'd also like slip in a book I thought that they'd like, right? She worked at a bookstore. She's a fucking
Okay.
library nerd because she's Belle. And she's like,
Yes.
so I would slip in. So then it got to a point where like then she was giving book recommendations to different staff members that she had befriended. Fine, great. But she goes, I handed blah 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 the book recommendation, and she reads the back cover of the book, which by the way, I don't think that's how that works in a magical world, but okay. She reads it and it says like far off places, daring sword fights, magic spells, and a prince in disguise. This is literally from the film.
Oh, like I don't
Like
recognize like
word for word. In the very opening scene of Beauty and the Beast, it's the first song. It's the song where she's bitching about how it's a small provincial town and she doesn't have, everybody
Oh, it's a
sucks.
line from that song?
Yes, so when she
Okay, I
goes
do know the
into the
song.
yeah, when she goes into the bookstore, it's the talking part of that song. When she goes into the bookstore and she's like, "Do you have anything new for me?" And he's like, "Not since yesterday." And she's like, "I'll take this one." And he's like, "You've read it twice already." And she's like, and then that's when she says it. She was like, "How can I not love it? It's, fairy tales and daring sword fights and prince in disguise." And you're like, "Oh, okay, like cool, great, whatever." Word for word. And then at some point, one of the characters in the book says, "Be our guest." And he says it in a way that's like not musically, like he's being kind of a dick about it. He's like, "You want to do that? Be our guest." But I'm like, did she just
Which is
put
an
that in?
interesting way to turn it, but yeah.
But there's some like direct nods. And it's not even nods, direct, just like, boom, here. And then, and then it's like, so reverse harem. So there's four princes, and like, she's horny for all of them out the gate. Just
Okay,
like
it's like instant love. Like,
instant, and it's not yeah,
okay.
like instant, like, they've locked me
That's
up.
what would kill me.
Yeah, it's like
That's what
they
would kill
locked
me.
me up and I don't know how I'm getting home, but god damn do I want to. And you're like, what? And like
Nobody
it's,
thinks
it's like, yeah, and it's a while, and then you're just like, there's no way she's like, you almost don't believe the like, who's she gonna choose? You kind of get the vibe right up front that she's gonna have all of them.
okay.
And like, don't get me wrong, it is spicy. It is satisfyingly spicy. The scenes are written very well. There's lots of like, it's not just hetero male female. There's some male male stuff happening. There's some group activities happening. So like, there's some for
There's a
just
lot.
about everybody. Um, but if ACOTAR, the first book, if that's like 95% book and 5% smut, right? Maybe even less because we get half of a scene. And like, let's say that Fallen in the Kiss of Dust, what percentage? 85-15? 80-20?
No, less than that.
Less than that, right? 90-10.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
this book is 50-50.
How do you even do that?
Like, because she's got four of them,
Yeah.
friend. Yeah. And like, and it's like, there's things in it where I'm like, well, clearly that's who that is, or like, clearly they're your fucking mates. Like, oh, can we just get to the part where you just fuck this guy already? Because I'm not even believing the tension right now. But it is like just entertaining enough on audiobook that I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't have meds right now, fuck it. I don't need to pay too close attention. I nodded off the other day. I didn't rewind. I was like, I could figure out what's going on.
It's so
So
funny.
like,
Yeah.
it's not bad. I just would never like, it would never be in my like recommendation list unless someone I like knew liked or was okay with the like the sins of the storytelling, because they're here for something a little different. And I'm like, maybe I'm just going to show up for something different. I just want to be entertained,
Mhm.
but like, I can't think about
Yeah.
it. I'm like, and
So
the dialogue is
this
like hit or
okay.
miss. And, you know, so like when it comes to like storytelling, I'm like,
Okay.
I'm here for a good time.
That's where the sins are, and then
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And so
It's
I'm
just like
like
the
putting
structure
all of the
and
like, I was like, this is not a book I would ever like annotate or look into, but it's traditionally published from a really big publishing house.
oh. Yeah, I feel
And
like a lot of those you see that's like a lot of smut is like independent or something like that, or Kindle Unlimited or something.
yeah,
Um
no, traditionally published, and there's six. So I'm like, or five or whatever. There's a good chunk
mhm.
of books in this series.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that as it gets further along, it gets further from the like Beauty and the Beast plagiarizing retelling and it's turning into more of its own thing. It's very fairy enchanted forest.
Mhm.
Um
Be our guest actually is that's a good way to like nod is to like use a line but totally change the meaning. I think but I'm
that
sure the rest of
that
it was
yes, that
egregious
was
or
very clever,
something.
but there's a couple of things
Yeah.
that I was just like, all right. It's funny because the real life location to the where she's from in the real world, because she goes into the Fey realm at some point, is
Okay,
like
it's like set on Earth.
it just starts out on Earth and then she enters into the
Okay.
Fey realm, and
Got
most
it.
of the book takes place there. Is like 30 minutes north from me, so I'm like, all right, here we go. Let's go. Little Pacific Northwest action. I can get with this. So like, I mean, it's
Love it.
fine. It's
Mhm.
not. I mean, I've definitely read shittier books, that's for sure, and I don't want to shit on the author because I'm entertained as fuck. Um,
Sometimes books are just there to entertain you. And that's
It is
fine.
not one that I could
Yeah.
imagine doing like a chapter by chapter deep dive in, though. It is not. I'd be like, nope,
Hey,
nope. Feel like I don't know what to say about my cum belongs in your ass and not your mouth. Like that,
Damn. Oh my god.
I don't. There's no secret foreshadowing to that. We're just banging.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
just not a lot of theorizing you can do.
Hmm. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's funny. Yeah, you had one hell of a reading.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's like,
okay, so
all
you
right.
didn't read Fate Inked in
I
Blood
have
yet,
not picked it up.
but
No, it's because I'm
you
having
read
again.
the novel and then these books.
Yeah, and
Okay.
so like there are ones that I can pay slightly less attention to. And audiobooking right now when I don't have to like sit and do the physical reading is a little bit easier right this second. Um,
Yeah.
but meds are on their way.
Yeah. And that's how I feel. I'm like, soon I'm gonna be different. That's what I'm telling myself.
Yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
gonna read Outlander. I've read like 40 pages of it, and I'm gonna make
Mhm.
some progress and go to
Mhm.
bed on time.
Yep.
Hey, sometimes I do go to bed on time. Sometimes I write 15
Well, and that's the
minutes.
other thing. We've been going to bed earlier, and that that's
Good.
but
See,
that's my reading time.
yep, yeah, that's funny.
So
Well, you can't win them all, but you could sure try. I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's awesome. I mean, honestly, it sounds fun. It's fun as hell.
it is. It's fun. And again,
Wow.
I used a credit on the second one, so let's go.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, one thing I will say about this book though, none of the characters annoy me.
Oh, okay. So
So that's kind of like there's things that I'm like, really, can we just fucking talk to each other? Because like if you just said
oh,
what's
I
on your
hate
mind,
communication miscommunication trope.
it's and
At
it's
least
not
with the
even a
characters.
miscommunicate. It's not even a miscommunication. He's just not telling her. He knows what his problem is, and he's like, I don't want to talk about it. And she's like, what is
But
your
that
problem? And like
I hate when I can't
that's
tell. Like I'm like, what is the reason for not doing this? Just but
we have a
it
little bit of a
explains it.
nod to it. Like we
Okay.
we as readers have a little bit of a like we kind of know it has to do with this guy who's quote unquote the villain maybe, but questionably.
Mhm.
And like there's hints at kind of why, but not we don't have the full story and so you're like
Mm.
okay. um and we have more than she does, so but
Yeah.
yeah, and then he's a little bit, I mean, maybe he's slightly annoying because he's very, it's her mate and he's rejecting the mate bond, but he's also her
Mm.
mate and is into her, and so like he's very fucking whiplashy where he's just like, I want to protect you and I love you, but I also will not complete this mate bond. And she's like, what the fuck is your problem? He's like, I will not do this. And she's like, why not? And he's like, not interested, babe. And then like 6 chapters later he's like, you're really beautiful, do you want to dance with me? And you're like, fuck you, sir,
It's only
no.
6 chapters later.
Oh, it's yeah,
That's
it's
funny.
like
See, that's where the issues would be. Like, it's like if you just push that a little bit further, like it could be so much. Because honestly, it makes the actual if a book has a lot of smut, it's better if it's more tension in the story.
yeah.
That's like you can have like just a well written sex scene, but like part of the emotion is the tension. So,
Yeah.
but
And it's not so much tension, he feels whiplashy to me. It feels like I
okay.
want to be with you. I want to do this thing, but if I do it, then this bad thing will happen, but I'm not going to tell you what that bad thing is or even that there is a bad thing that will happen. So I'm just going to tell you no, because I know that a bad thing will happen if I like go through with the mate bond. And of course, to steal the mate bond, they just have to bang it out, right? He's like, I
Hmm.
will not fuck you. It's just not gonna happen. I don't want this mate bond. I don't want you to be my mate. And he, in his mind, is like, because if I do, then this bad thing happens. But she doesn't
Hmm.
know that. So she's just getting, I don't want you as a mate. I'm really fucking mad that you're this person for me and I fucking hate it. But I also kind of love you and kind of want you and definitely want to
Hmm.
do the mate bond. But I won't.
Okay.
And I don't want to. But I do.
And he's the he so but like most of the characters, he's the one who's the only one who's slightly annoying,
He's
and the
kind of,
rest
yeah,
of them
he's,
are
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah.
And there's something to be
And
said
he's
for if you're
supposed
not
to
annoyed
be,
with characters, there's something to them,
yeah,
There's some
yeah.
reason that they're likable.
I'm
Uh,
super intrigued into the like quote unquote villain guy because I don't think he's gonna be the villain at all. Um
mm, mhm.
and I'm yeah.
Although
And
sometimes when you think they're gonna be the villain and then they actually are, like, sorry, you think they're supposed to be the villain, then you think they're not gonna be, and then they actually are. That can be
so
like even more
they are
heartbreaking.
heavily
Oh,
heavily alluding to the fact that the guy that she's mated with, well, I guess the first guy that she is mated with, because my assumption is she's going to be mated to all four of them, but
oh,
we haven't gotten there. It seems pretty fucking obvious. That's where we're going.
okay.
But so that seems obvious to me. And so the first guy that she's mated to, it's heavily implied, had a relationship with this villain.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And then there was some war that happened and something that happened, and there was a falling out between those two people, and now he's the bad guy
Mm,
because they say so.
yeah,
And like there's some other shit, but like it's kind of a he sucks. And she's like, "Well,
yeah.
why?" And he's like, "Cuz we said that he's the bad guy, so he's the bad guy." She's like, "Okay." Okay.
It's that
Uh
easy. That's funny.
I think he's gonna end up also being one of her mates because that's just my fucking theory that she's gonna fuck all of them, which is fine. Whatever, go
Yeah,
off. Um, but yeah, and so like
it's
I'm
funny. I've
more
never
interested
read
in
any
like there's
books like that.
neither have
Well, I
I.
will one day, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
but there's also so the like the curse that the enchantress puts on the beast in Beauty and the Beast is like kind of the exact curse that is on them. They turn into beasts at night, but not during the day, so it's slightly different. But like literally, they're like, she came to the door and we told her to fuck off, and she put a spell on us, and now we have roses upstairs that are wilting, and you're like, oi, okay,
That's
okay,
that's direct
yeah.
retelling.
I was like, that's not even retelling. That's just we're just using it. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I don't really know. I haven't read a
She
lot of
can't go into
retellings.
the
I'm sure
West
it's
Tower or something. She can't go in the tall tower, or the whatever tower. I'm like, okay, cool. Stay out of the West Wing. We get it. You're gonna go in there. Cool, cool.
it's funny.
But like, then there's more magic to it, and it's like it's
Hmm.
fun. It's
I'm
fun.
sure it does. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I was like the whole time I'm listening to it, I'm like, oh, this is there are some sins in here.
Writing sins.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I
That's
mean, there's
interesting.
other sins, but I don't care about those
Hmm.
sins. I
Hmm.
don't think they're sinful, whatever. But yeah, no, I'm like, go, okay, cool, cool.
Yeah. Well, it's at least a lively week.
Yeah, and I do like their discussion of like because she's kind of moderately to not moderately fucking around with all four of them,
Hmm.
and like they're like, you can't do this with anybody else but us. Like, if you're gonna go out and try to be with somebody else, we're gonna fucking eat their faces off because we can't handle that. And that's a real jealousy. But like, you do what you got to do with us. And so like there's
Interesting.
no jealousy and a like between all of them. It's a fun little and also it's not just like she doesn't just get all of them and then they also get each other.
Oh, interesting.
So everybody's just hanging out together, which I think is a better story than it just being like there's this girl who gets to just do whatever the fuck she wants without any emotions attached to
Yeah.
it or and like she's concerned about it. She's like, "Is this
Hmm.
okay? I'm sorry. I think I overstepped." And like she's got some
Hmm.
anxiety and they're like, "It's
So that still
fine."
makes that's like what makes the story. It's
Yeah.
not like just straight up like smut. Yeah.
Fucking rambled about that book for forever. It's good. I'm not gonna lie. Like at some point, I need to write sex scenes. It's actually a really good lesson in how to
I
write
don't know
good
if
sex.
I'm gonna write sex scenes. I keep being like, I should just write one
I
for fun just to see, and I'm like, maybe I'm not gonna do that.
I know I'm going to write them. I just don't know how gratuitous they will be yet.
Yeah. I feel like I would only just it's
I
just
feel like
whatever
they're
the
gonna be
story
somewhere in
vibes are.
serpent levels of
Hmm.
detailed.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I like the idea because before I was sort of like closed off to it because I was like, and I was like, well, sex is a part of life. It should be in
Yeah,
stories.
yeah,
But then I'm like, I don't know if I personally, but maybe I
fair.
will. Maybe I'll eat my words and
I
I'll
mean,
like,
there
but
are
I think
also
I'm more fantasy than romance,
yeah.
really, generally. So I think that's why
Well,
also.
and there are plenty of like romantasy books that have I mean Throne of Glass is one, right? Like you get sex scenes, but it's not it's not a smut series by any
Yeah.
means.
No, and that's
And
what I mean.
yeah,
Like that's probably the level I would write. So
yeah,
I don't know. I just yeah, I don't even think about the romance right now. Like I tried
no
to write a
fair.
romance and just wrote a fucking fantasy.
Then write
I,
fantasy.
it'll get there eventually. But I do want to try like just writing a romance just to sort of try my hand at
Yeah.
it. Because yeah, maybe I should just start another story and just try it out because it's a good, I have a lot of creative writing experience and not a lot of long form experience. So
Mhm.
everything I write is short. So I need like sticking with a project is really interesting to me.
Yeah.
And also very fun.
So
Yeah, okay. So
why do you want to start a novel?
why did we? Honestly, I think the age-old reason, because I always wanted to. Like, I feel like that's what everyone says. Throughout my whole life, I wanted to write a novel. I wanted to write a story, wanted to write a book. Is that you as well?
No.
Okay.
I had no desire to ever write a novel when I was younger. I
Interesting.
didn't,
Yeah, it was
I
like my
wanted
first viable career
I
after
wanted
singer, rock star.
yeah, I
It was
wanted
like that.
I was like gymnast, ice skater. I don't have any of those options in the middle of the fucking desert, so I'm gonna be a teacher. And
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
I wanted to be a
Okay,
history teacher.
I probably said around the same time that I wanted to possibly teach. That was my like realistic choice. But writing was also like I was like I could be a writer. People are writers all the time.
I
So they're
wanted
both kind of duals.
to That's not true. I guess, I mean, I don't know. One of my tattoos says, like, if you wouldn't be forgot as soon as you're dead, do something worth reading or or write something worth reading or do something worth writing or some shit like that, right?
Okay.
I should know what
Yeah.
it says on my body. Um, but mostly it was about like it's a Benjamin Franklin quote. And so I did it as a historian of being like, okay, so if I'm gonna like leave a legacy, then I need to like either be an amazing human being, which I don't think that Ben Franklin was, but okay, I got to do something that is
Uh-huh.
influential to some degree, right? Teaching is a really easy way to do that. You change lives. Um, or write something that's worth reading. And for me, then the write something worth reading was academic,
Okay.
right? I was like, I'm going to get my PhD. I'm going to write a book and I'm going to put some cool shit in the world and I'm going to be that person.
Oh, you wanted to write an academic book. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then it became very clear that I don't fucking write. I don't like writing academic stuff. I
Ah,
don't enjoy it. It's not something I
that's so
enjoy.
interesting. I mean, I guess I
Um,
think about legacy, but just not that much. Only when I think about the quality of my work, actually.
yeah,
Because I just think, would I want people to read that for 100 years after like no
yeah.
or yes? And that's
I
why it's
wanted
always worth it to keep drafting, keep improving.
I wanted to be able to give voice to people who had been previously voiceless. That was my thing. I was like, I
In
want to,
academia.
in academia,
Okay.
it's like, I want to be able to shed light or tell stories about real people who have not had their stories told.
That's
And then I
cool.
realized I don't need the real people part.
I just make them up.
I just
And
need
they're
to, I
still like
like,
representative of real
yeah, yeah.
people.
And so,
Yeah.
but that was so like maybe I've always had the storyteller in me. I was like, I always want to tell these stories. I want people to be able to see them. So, and like, so even with teaching, I was like, I want you to be able to open up a history book and see yourself in the stories, no matter what
Mhm.
background or whatever it is that you come from. You should be able to open up a textbook and see you somewhere in there. You should be able to go into a history space, right, a historical library, and see yourself on the shelf, which is a weird thing to say as a very pasty woman, that like, yeah, I see myself on the shelf, right, to some extent, right, maybe not the woman part, but there's so many people who don't. And
Yeah.
so for me it was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to like bring stories to life, tell stories of people who like not only couldn't tell their stories because of whatever isn't like, hurdles that are in the way for the time, but like now are also dead. Right.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so my research was on, ancient Jewish women and the things that they were doing that was subversive from the culture, and ways that women found agency in the ancient world, right? In a world that we think women have zero rights, how did they find ways to take ownership of their
They always
bodies and their
find a
houses
way.
and their children's and whatever children's and their children and all the things? And I found
Yeah.
that really
That's cool.
fulfilling, but the process of academic writing
It's
and
hard.
it's yeah, and there's a lot of not that writing fiction is a moneymaker either, but there's a whole lot of this is very time consuming and very costly, and I'm not getting anything out of it. And
Yeah.
not only am I not really getting anything out of it other than just like, my own sort of, yay, I'm doing this and I enjoy it, but then I have to keep fighting. So like if I want to work in this space, I got to keep publishing. If I want, and so like it just became more
Yeah.
like the grind was not worth the fulfilling thing for me.
Mhm.
Um and I didn't want the PhD anymore. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm married. I want to have kids. I don't want another fucking X amount of
5 years or
student
something.
debt. I
Yeah.
don't want to feel like I'm still working towards something for forever. I
Yeah.
want to be in it. I want to be doing stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so I stopped at masters and did the thing, and then I think it was in the process of like kind of transitioning out of everything that I do is academic and has to be academic to, well, maybe things that I do can just be for fun. And then my reading changed and I was able
Mm.
to do more leisure reading.
Mm.
And then I was doing like creative things just as being a parent. Like all of a sudden you're like,
Yeah, doing stuff with kids is
decorating,
so, like
yeah, you're like
yeah.
decorating bedrooms or you're doing art projects or whatever it is. And I started to realize like, oh, I'm actually much more creative than I've ever thought I was. I was always
That's
the person who was
cool.
like, art is not for me, not into it. And then realized that art isn't just drawing fruit. And
Yeah.
so yeah, so then
Thank
it just
God.
became more and more like I kind of threw myself into stories, which
Yeah,
I
probably the
mean,
reading is really what did it too, huh? 'Cause you read,
yeah,
like,
and
70 books in a year, right?
yeah,
That's a
and
lot.
like I can lean into. I don't want to go like down a religious route, but I will say that like part of converting to Judaism and being Jewish is about like so much of the culture is storytelling and keeping
Mhm.
stories alive, and so I think that that's just kind of in me anyways. I was like I converted to Judaism and I'm a historian, and so stories has been with me for forever. I've always been like wanting more stories or wanting to tell stories. I just didn't realize I wanted to make them up,
Yeah, that's interesting.
and I didn't trust
Um,
myself to make them up. I was like, I'm not creative. I can't. That's not a thing that
mm,
I'm able to do. I don't have that skill. Like I didn't think it was like I thought it was more of like a gift than a craft.
mhm, yeah, a lot of people think like that,
And
yeah.
so I was like, yeah, no, I wasn't given the gift of creation, I guess. And then you create two humans, and you're like, yeah, I can create anything if I can fucking do that. Making
That's
this,
funny. I had
but
similar kind of, like, dismissals, like, I always just thought like, I liked reading stories, but I was always never focusing enough on reading, and I always play, like, video games or watch stuff, and, like, I just couldn't, like, settle down enough to like read it and like especially in adulthood but I did as a kid more and then I would try to write and I just found it really hard to write. Like I wrote a couple like technical book length, like I did NaNoWriMo a couple of times and like I just felt like I wasn't that good at it, and then I started writing like poetry and short fiction and felt much more drawn to those. And I for years I would just be like, yeah, I can't care past like 1 second, so I would just write poems because they're about 1 second time.
yeah,
And then actually I think what really got me into like kind of thinking about the story arc and characters and long-term journeys is TV actually, because Kill
hmm
and I will watch random ass old shows, but like we watched some of our favorites like The Americans and Breaking Bad and like those, and then like we started just watching like kind of just other stuff, and we will pause and we will talk about the character arc and the development here and like just be nerds. And
that's what
that's
that's
probably
what
one of the things that got
that's
me
what
like
Game of
thinking about
Thrones
it.
was for me. It was like the first
Oh
TV show
yeah.
that I was really like breaking down. and
Yeah. Oh,
like
I've always been a nerd. Like
like
I wanna talk about
sleuthing.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to talk about it. I want to like be a little sleuth for the
Mhm.
story and what do we think is going to happen next, and
Yeah, I
yeah.
love theorizing and predicting and like being like, okay, well, but the foreshadowing's here, and it would make sense for the
Mhm.
character arc if this happened. So I think I love that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. So, but yeah, I feel like, and honestly, I played some video games. The story was really good. It made me like, I want to write again. But then, just like yeah, reading more was also probably the
Yeah.
thing. A little
I
bit was like that. Like it's not that it seemed easy. It seemed like why am I not why am I not doing this or trying this at least? Like I
mhm.
should just give this a try. So I did.
I took a creative writing class in community college. It was one of the classes that I could take for my like uh
Collective.
English GE something. It was like yeah.
Mhm.
So um no, it was one of the ones that I could take to actually for like my English
Oh,
requirements. Um and all I mean it's not all, but I feel like the bulk of the entire thesis for that class, which now I realize that that's what it was. I didn't realize it then. It was just like, why are we focusing on this one thing? Was that every story is just two different characters want like n- not agreeing, that like it's this person is saying yes and this person is saying no, and you have to keep that story going of the yes no yes no yes no yes no for like that tension. And
interesting.
I didn't quite, I don't think I got what it he was just like, this character wants A and this character wants B, and A and B cannot mix. So character A is always going to be working on this, which is in direct like opposition to what this one is doing. And so it's constant, nobody's moving. And I was like, then what's the story? Cuz
See, I
it
feel like
can't.
tricks like that can be helpful to some people, but if you're not ready for it, you're like, what the fuck? And
Well,
then
and I was
20
like,
years later, you'd be like, oh.
yeah, well, like now I'm like, okay, I can kind of okay, this makes sense. Like we're talking about goals, we're talking about, you know, protagonist,
How do you maintain
antagonist, right?
tension and
But
interest?
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
fine. But it was really just like you have two characters, one wants a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and the other one doesn't.
Wants
And
to throw out all the peanut butter.
yeah, and it was like, and then that's your story. One saying we're having this for dinner, and one says we're not. I'm not eating it.
Yeah, it's too simple.
I'm like,
It's
okay,
it's
or
hard to
because too
understand.
complicated, where I'm like, you didn't add any other words. You said there's two characters, they want opposite things. Go. Okay, well, how would you say things like you have a protagonist and an antagonist, and their goals are are diametrically opposed to one another.
Yeah.
Now you can make those goals very simple to play with how that works, and say that one wants to eat all the PB and J sandwiches, and one wants to keep them all from being eaten.
Yeah.
And then you could write that story. But now you've added more words. You've told me that these are goals, not just two fucking cunts not agreeing and fighting over it. Because that's what was in my head. I was like, okay.
They have to always disagree. They can't
And
that's
then he was like,
mm.
it's like a no win scenario forever. I'm like, for 600 pages, motherfucker? No, I need stuff to happen. And again, I probably just
Well,
wasn't
that's
getting
an
it.
interesting that's a really interesting I've been in a lot of creative writing classes, okay? That's a
Yeah,
weird one.
and I was like, maybe I just am not. And so I think that that was part of it too. I was like, if that's what creative writing is, then like I don't. It must be a gift because I don't got it. I'm not getting it.
Oh my
But no,
goodness.
I think I've always wanted to tell stories, and I'm always in. I mean, I fucking turned magic into an actual historical thesis, so clearly I'm into magic.
Yeah. No,
Like
that's yeah.
yeah, I'm like I looked at actual real life spells from the ancient world. Now, do they
That's
work? Did
cool.
I do them? Absolutely not. But that doesn't mean that they're not still what they are. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like I looked at actual witchcraft practices in the
That's
world.
cool.
So clearly I'm interested in fairies and witches and fucking fae and all the things.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I didn't think that I had it, that I had the capacity to create. And then the first story I came up with was when I think I was already at state and I was doing my undergrad, and I was a religious studies major for one of my, right? I was a dual major. And I was like, what would this like I was like, I want to write a story that's like slightly post-apocalyptic, but it's not, the world hasn't ended, but the world has outlawed all world religions. And like,
Mm,
what would that look like? And then my brain couldn't really comprehend what that would truly look
I don't think
like.
it's possible.
No, it's not. And so like already the premise was flawed. And I think I was thinking far too small. I was thinking about character in that set. So like that was more of the setting than the plot. And I was like, well, that's a
Yeah.
stupid backdrop for, because like there's so many questions, like what are the political implications, whatever. And so I probably wrote a little bit about it, and it really ended up just still being a story between two people. And I was much more interested in the characters because that's what I do.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, that's the one that lives somewhere on a laptop,
It's on a
never
left.
never to see the light of day. And I did write some short stories when I was in college.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think part of it is like getting older and just being like, fuck it, I'll try it. Like, and
Yeah.
realizing that it's really something that you like, it's a skill, it's a craft, it's a muscle that you
Mhm.
exercise, as opposed to it being like, well, this person
It's
is
not, yeah.
born with this spark of something, and
Yeah.
you're like,
You have to train it, yeah.
yeah.
And
So
yeah, it's part of it's like I've always said I'm going to do this shit and I haven't done it. Let's do
mhm,
this. It's like a little bit of that, but yeah, I know. I feel like
yeah,
I'm not as drawn to stories necessarily. I think I am, but I like I probably wouldn't have said in interviews. That's like the classic writer interview. I
yeah.
always love storytelling, and I'm like I probably wouldn't have the instinct to say that, but maybe I am. I don't know. Yeah. I was thinking on a different level for a long time, but I think I obviously do like stories and
Mhm,
have too many opinions about them
fair.
and all that, but, yeah.
Writer ambitions.
Yeah. Well, there's probably a lot in that.
There's a lot in that. I mean, there's a part of me that would be absolutely happy with self-publishing and having 7 people know my work. um,
Yeah.
and not making more than $5 off my craft. But that's not the ambition, right? The ambition is
It's like yeah, I mean, everyone would like to just not have to work ever, make a bunch of money selling books and just have
well,
that be their
and to
life,
be
but,
very honest with you,
you
I
know.
I don't even think it's about the money. I mean, sure, like I have a family
Well,
and it would be
in
nice
this world, it's
have
always gotta be about money, but yeah.
sure, and I'm not gonna be, like, above it, like, sure, of course, I wanna make money off of something I'm
Yeah.
putting work into, but I don't think of a dollar amount when it comes to, like, what are my dreams as a writer.
No.
I think of author names. When it's like,
Mm.
"What do you wanna be?" I'm like, "I wanna be that person. I want my books
Oh.
on shelves as frequently as that person. I want to be a household name."
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
I
I
don't think
want
of it
someone to
in
be like,
that
"Oh, you
terms.
like this genre? This is the genre. This person is part of the genre." Like, the sort
Okay.
of the
Yeah.
5 people you list for, like, "Oh, I don't even know where to start on romantasy." You're like, "Cool."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay,
Because
see,
for
I
us, it's
think
like
of
what? Mass, Yaros, Broadbent. Start there.
well, those are just like, yeah, I'd be
For
pickier about
cons
a list, but yeah, 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 yeah,
But you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like,
I
if
could,
if
yeah.
someone was like, "I wanna start, where do I start?"
What
I
where
hear
do
a lot of
where do most people start? Those
yeah,
are the
yeah,
popular names, yeah.
there you go.
Um, Um, yeah, I think mine are really like in the same way that you like I could just have it be like independently published and 5 people read it. I could spend my whole life writing and not publish posthumously it as long as it was good, I kind of wouldn't care.
Okay.
Um, I think that I'm writing more often that I probably will have something published eventually.
Yeah.
Um, or I'll just write, I don't know. But yeah, I mostly just care about it being good. Would it be sick
Mhm.
to, like, make a bunch of money writing a book? Yeah. But, like, it's not like, part of it's like I can't, like, hold hope for that because it's really not, like, realistic. It'd just be cool.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'll take it if it happens, but I
Yeah.
really doubt that, and, so I just wanna write something
I
good.
I love
So,
that I
that's
love
it.
that being good wasn't in my ambition.
No, because
I want it to be
you
I want
assume
it to
that if
be good.
people like it, that it's
Yeah.
then good.
Yeah.
I don't always conflate those things because there's a bunch
That's
of books that I think are very popular that are not super great.
yeah,
And so I don't
fair.
conflate those, but it's fair to conflate them because a lot of that's how we're that's normal. Um, but I think of it more like, oh, yeah, just like personal impact. And I think that's also why I like poems. Like you get that in every poem, kind of.
Yeah.
You get like a feeling. You get like just it's like a shorter way to do that.
Yeah.
And although I could never revise my poems, so I also never hardly punished published them either. But whatever. One day those too. Uh, I've got like a whole ass manuscript that is just unrevised. Um, what about your idea? So, did you just like sit one day and you're like, I got it? Because
I
I a little bit had that with my like world idea, or one of them.
yes, there is a band. It's such a
Oh
cliche
yeah,
fucking
you have
story.
told, yeah.
There
That
is
is the
a
impetus, huh?
yes. So I was is the band is called Our Last Night, and you can like them or not, that's fine. So they have their own like original songs, but for the most part, they do
They're a cover
covers.
band. Yeah.
They're covers. So they take popular usually pop songs and they do metal covers, right?
Okay.
And one of their original songs is called Valley of Vision, and I'm listening to it in the car, and like regardless of what the lyrics are, I was like, Valley of Vision, like I
Mhm.
was in my fucking Yaros audiobook moment and was already in a
Mhm.
fantasy realm.
Mhm.
And then you get this title that says Valley of Vision. And I was
That's
like,
how it
well, what
happens.
the fuck do I like? That's cool. And I just sat on it for a little bit and was just like, that would be really cool to like have a scene where you have to like travel through like a valley, like a really narrow pass in a mountain range, and you saw visions
Mhm.
and they fucked with you. And I was like, "Okay, that's cool. How do I make that a story?" And that's how it happened.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mine is kind of, it wasn't like I wasn't like I was thinking about like magic systems and how there's always like, if you want to know the truth, you have to go to the old witch and I was like, yeah, but where the old witch learned that? And I
Nice.
essentially just wanted to write a magic origin story.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's but like where does it come from? And so I just sort of spent a while thinking about that and ultimately came to like this um like post-apocalyptic sort of premise ish. But it started as like I was like, yeah, like it seems like just really hard to start a magic system that doesn't also just feel like a superhero story of like I got bit by a spider, the first of its kind,
Yeah.
and then because that's like a lot of it's like there was a mutation and then this shit happened and then that's how magic was born. Like
Yeah,
I was
or
like,
just like
I want it more natural.
super wild exposition of like, and then
Well,
here's
but
how it
even they're
happened.
saying like the old people did this and this. I'm like, but how do you be the old person?
But that's
Like,
what I'm saying is that like
yeah,
it would be easy, I guess, easier to be like, cool. So how do I start this story? And then it's really just a like that. Then
yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
Or like
it's
starting with no magic and then finding it. And
that's
yeah, I
kind of
will
cool
say
though.
there's times where it still does kind of feel a little bit like a superhero aspect, like because part of it's like yeah, something changed in nature and that changed the way these people interact with nature. But hopefully it doesn't feel like that. I mean, superheroes are interesting. There's an interesting structure as well.
Yeah,
It's not what I set out to do, but
fair.
whatever. Um,
But if you just don't call them superheroes, then it's not a problem.
well, but I just mean the premise of like having powers
Yeah,
and I don't know. Anyway, because I yeah, anyway, but that was like yeah, that was kind of the whole thing is like I want to write that original story, and I
yeah,
just thought of a bunch of things as I was sort of thinking about that. Um, also thinking about generations being really disconnected from each other. Like,
okay.
how do you like lose history? You
Mhm.
like what do you? What's the process of doing that? It's always a bunch of people fucking dying. You don't.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah,
yeah, organized
yeah.
political structures.
Uh,
Great way to get
but
rid of history.
yeah, and usually rich people. So,
Yeah,
there's a
propaganda.
lot of them.
Political
Yeah,
propaganda. Easy way to get rid of history.
yeah.
Fear of lack of originality. I don't have that.
Well, no, you do. You probably like everyone thinks like, oh, well, but everyone's told this story before. This story's and they're curious just to go like, no, but I've never told this story
Yeah.
before. And
So I feel like I don't have as much of a hang up
okay,
because here's the thing. All the stories are kind of the same. That's the
yeah,
kind of joke, especially in romantasy, that it's all the same. Like, that's the 19-year-old girl who is starving is going to save the world. Or, of
mm-hmm.
course, they're fate. Like, that's why tropes exist, right? Because it's all kind of the same
Mm,
fucking story. Everything is a little different. Things are more interesting. There's different aspects. But, like, at the end of the day, and not only that, we can even go more simple, right? Narrative arcs are all the same,
yeah,
right? Hero quests, all the same. Like, they're different and they're unique and they're powerful, but at the skeletal level, it's all the same. And the stuff
that's
that's really
funny.
popular that I would love to be popular with, it's all the same.
See, I don't think like that.
Yeah,
Okay,
I was like, as long as I'm doing something that feels original to me, feels
yeah,
like it's coming from my brain and it's not an algorithm or AI or whatever, and has some semblance of something that is unique to the character stories that I'm trying to tell, even if that story still lives in the same, like,
mm-hmm.
hero quest journey, or it's the same, like, the girl with no magic and then she finds her magic and saves the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cool, great, whatever. Or, whatever it is. Okay, I'll go with the trend. I'm a Hufflepuff. I want to belong.
That's so okay. See, I feel like the lack of fear of being not original is like a young writer thing that I had for a long time, and I would always be like, I want to write something, but I don't know what to write. I don't have a good enough idea. That's how I put off writing a book for like 10 years, is because I
Yeah.
was like, but I don't have a good enough idea. And then I was
Yeah.
like, you kind of just your brain clicks or fully develops or there's something
Yeah.
happens and you realize I don't need a it's the me. I'm the
Yeah.
individual person that creates the story is a it'll come. But anyway, so I just feel like, but I still do sometimes go like, well, I can't have him do that because, like, of course that would happen. So
Yeah.
I actually don't really like when you're like, oh, I'll embrace, I'll go with the trope. I'm like, no, I gotta resist the trope. I gotta not do this. Like, which is why I wanted to write that enemies to lovers story because I let's embrace it.
Yeah. I wanted to work itself out a little differently, right?
Yeah, I mean everyone,
But,
yeah,
like, yeah, at some point I plan on, like, I have an enemies to lover idea in my head, right? But
mhm.
it's not a typical one because it was like
Cool.
friends to lovers to enemies to lover, right? It's like
Mhm.
there's more to it. It's not just like, you killed my father and I hate you. And he's like, well, okay. So we hate each other for 27 chapters and then I'll fuck you and we'll be besties and we'll go save the world. Right?
Yep.
So it's like, try to make it more realistic, try to make it more complicated, try to make it to feel more dimensional
Mhm.
than just like, the world has told you that you need to be enemies and you're going to find, like, that's Romeo and Juliet,
Yeah.
right? That's not true enemies to lovers. That's the world has told you that you should not be together for whatever reason and that you should hate each other.
Mhm.
And despite what the world has told you, you love each other. That's
Yeah.
boring. More is that there's like an actual slight or actual something that was done by somebody to
Mhm.
make them your enemy.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
an internal choice between two people to fucking hate each other, and then despite that, it turns into something more. That's a more interesting enemies to
mhm.
lover.
Or I just
But
think as long as they can be like a force structure like that, as long as it feels real in the character's mind that you're in.
yeah.
Like so
Mhm.
because I feel like what we actually hate is that feeling like the author had to make some tension here, so this is what they did,
Yeah.
which is why we all hate a miscommunication trope.
Yeah.
Whereas like, technically you could go with a that's kind of an interesting writing exercise too, to go with a straight up boring ass copy the story structure, but you make it interesting with
Yeah.
actually making the characters feel those things and selling it, making it
Yeah.
believable. On some level, I kind of almost am like, I both am like, I want to be highly original, and also I feel like part of me wants to write like a regular ass story just to try
Yeah.
out some of that
And
stuff.
I
But
I
yeah,
just I want people to, you know,
you want
I
people to
want them to
connect with
like the
characters.
story, and if you
Yeah,
want your story to be on a shelf, you gotta lean into the mainstream a little bit, right? You gotta lean into what's popular
yeah,
and what.
marketability is a thing.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
That's
And so,
probably why I'm fine never publishing.
well, and I don't wanna sacrifice
Yeah.
good quality storytelling because of book sales, right? I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Um, but I do think that there's a way to take things that are trendy and make them unique. And
Yeah.
that's where I live.
Definitely.
I'm like, okay, so if people want an enemies to lover, let's make it happen. But let's make it like just let's work it out to where it
Hmm.
feels authentic. That's the
Yeah.
difference. I don't
And
care if it's the same kind of story. I don't care if it's the same kind of tropes. I don't
yeah.
care if it's cliche. Does it feel genuine to this character?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
can you relate to that character? That's
And
all
that
that
kind of
matters.
story will always sell. Like if it's good and
Exactly.
if it makes sense, it will be compelling and therefore it will sell. I am kind of like a hippie. Like part of me is like, I almost don't want to keep the tropes because I think if it's quality, it'll eventually sell or it'll eventually figure itself out or posthumous, whatever. But
But I also feel like tropes are the fucking horoscopes for books.
yeah,
You can fit anything into you can take a book that
yeah,
the author had no knowledge of what a trope is and be like, that's that, because they're so vague.
yeah.
Enemies to
Yeah.
lovers, you're like, okay. Throne
Well,
of
we're really
Glass
talking
could
about
be
the
enemies.
traditional bullshit that we hate when we say that.
Well,
Yeah,
sure, and it's just because it's on my mind, but like, I don't know, what else is there?
yeah.
Like, think of, you can take any book and you can start they're doing it, they're like, oh, the original Enemies to Lovers book is Pride and Prejudice. Nowhere in the world during the publication of that book knew the term enemies to lovers.
No, yeah, yeah. But
And so, like, that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
It's like the horoscope of fucking book categorization.
Hmm.
Something will stick because it's just the nature of storytelling.
Yeah. And you could just yeah, I'd say yeah. We can call it whatever, but yeah. But a story that's good will always, I think. I'm a hippie like that. I just am like it'll figure itself out.
And then we went on a 10-minute tangent about horoscopes and random shit. So, anyway,
I mean,
You
we've
what?
talked a lot about the process. I think for me, it's like more of like the how often that varies, but I think that's what's daunting. I think that was part of why I never started long form before, was because it was just like, okay, but like I may have a great idea, but how do I
Hmm.
do this? And how do I make time to do this? Because
Oh,
it's,
I never think like that. That's so funny. I
yeah,
just think I'll figure it out. I'm a hippie like that. Like I'll be like, it'll work
sure.
itself
And like
out.
there's a part of me that does, but I
Yeah.
also, writing felt like a selfish hobby as opposed
Oh.
to something that it felt like self-care a little bit.
Okay.
And that's hard to like factor because it wasn't a task, right? I can factor in a task. You're like, fuck it, add it on. I got 6 jobs already and 2 kids and a husband. I could do another job. But if it's something that's just for me, it was very hard to be like, well, when do I do
Mhm.
that? Like, I already got 6 jobs and 2 kids and a husband, right?
Okay,
And
that's
granted, if it was
interesting.
a job, I just add it on and it wouldn't be a question. It wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
But when it's for me, it's a problem. So that was kind of, so I perfect world right now with having children at home 24/7 would be like if I could get like 2 days a week to sit down for like 2 to 4 hours, that would
Yeah,
be that would be perfect.
that's sick.
Once they're
Well,
both
and
in
you will.
school,
Yeah.
yeah, and once they're both in school, I think it would still be like, a couple days a week. I would sit down for that, like, two
Yeah.
to four hours.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's hard. And I feel like if I'm going to, maybe not negotiate is not the right word because my husband does not care if I go back to work or not. But if I'm going to
Mhm.
negotiate with myself whether or not to go back to work when both my kids are in school, I think it's going to be much easier to negotiate if I'm actively like working on my creative endeavors as opposed to
Mhm.
treating them like a fun thing that I do. And I'm starting to transition where I'm like, the podcast is no longer just a fun thing that Allie and I do together. Like, this is something I want to turn into something more and would love to
Mhm.
make
Like
it
be
more
like
of
do
a,
it, be serious,
yeah,
yeah.
and feel like it's more
It's
like
also
work.
fun. Yeah.
Also, I'm the psycho who enjoys working. So, like, the whole be
Mhm.
like, oh, like, you don't want to turn it into a job because that takes the fun out of it. No, that takes the motivation, that puts the motivation back into it for me. Because if I'm just doing it for fun, then it's whenever I have time, which is never.
Oh, that's so funny. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I've never had a problem just like, um, yeah, I don't know. I think actually the fact that I'm doing it with someone else keeps it. If it was just maybe me by myself, I probably would have dropped it by now. But there's something about just one other person. You're just like, I can do this consistently for 20 weeks, like easy.
Yeah.
Like, but
Well,
if
that
yeah,
and like
and
it's
it's just
also
kind
like
of cool to do something consistently too.
yeah, there's like, an accountability buddy, right? Like we set a
Bill
goal.
buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why
Like,
doesn't anyone say that? I grew up hearing accountability partners
yeah,
constantly.
no, accountability buddy.
It's funny.
But yeah, like, you check in and like you want to for me, right? I want to
Mhm.
cheer somebody on and also get cheered on, right? And so
Yeah.
like the idea of being able to be like, hell yeah, 1,500 words, let's go. And be excited for that. And then have someone be that for me, like that's motivation to be like, okay,
Yeah.
this could be a real thing.
Yeah, or sometimes I write on like Sunday because I'm like, I gotta get more shit before the podcast. I need to get my workout up. I was gonna write today and then I ran out of time.
Yeah.
It's
I just
it's
gotta find
good.
balance. That's all, right? I have
Mhm.
yeah, I just gotta find balance.
Yes, and you gotta find it to be acceptable for you to have fun.
Yeah. But,
Just
I'm
like
like, I'm trying to figure out, right? Daughter's back in school. Son is, we're doing some like pre-K homeschool stuff. And so just trying to find balance between how much attention he gets from me, how much enrichment he gets,
mhm,
and
enrich.
also how much like can he fuck off for a little bit so I can
It's fun for him to
write.
play by himself.
Yeah,
Say,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And like,
kids need that.
also I'm not opposed to like my kids watch TV, right? So like,
Yeah,
but I don't want them watching TV for 4 hours a day, right? And so
yeah.
it's like it
Even though
just
I
becomes a
definitely did as a
balance.
kid.
And I have a hard time writing at night because by then I'm over it. And like
Oh, that's so
I'm
funny. I
I
write
would
right before bed. Like I get in
no.
bed and then I write on my laptop for 20
I
minutes and then I
I
go to sleep.
no. I read before bed. I can't write before bed.
Oh, I'll do both, but yeah.
Yeah, no. I read before bed because I can close it and I know I can come back to it tomorrow. I can't like I can keep going the net like with the story.
Mhm.
That's not a promise for my writing. Like I'll be like, okay, but it's been a week and what am I supposed to do? Like there's always a book that I can open in the evening. There's not always I can't always write every night. I would much rather wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and write in the morning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be nice
It's
to be
like
that kind of person,
yeah,
but
it would be lovely. That's why I'm like, well, maybe I go to bed earlier and then I could just be that
I
person who
can't
like
ever
wakes
fall
up.
asleep. I just stare at the fucking ceiling for
Yeah, I can go to
hours. I just do
yeah.
not go to sleep.
I can go to sleep. I just can't wake up.
All right. We'll see you
What are we
next
doing next?
week.
Hold on, what are we doing next week?
What?
Oh,
Writing exercises?
we're gonna do some writing exercises. We're gonna read really bad, off the cuff writing to each other. That's what we're gonna do.
Yes. It's gonna be
We're gonna
awesome.
give us a prompt, and then we're gonna fast forward you through the actual writing because you don't need to have 15 minutes of silence because that's crazy. And then we'll read our really bad shit to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds fun.
Cool,
See you
cool.
then.
All right. Until then, keep reading.